Are you afraid of being judged by others? And is that in some way hindering your ability, your will to maybe put yourself out there in the world, perhaps make some YouTube videos that you've been thinking about, or perhaps put your music out there or express your opinion on certain things, but are you afraid of being judged? Are you afraid that perhaps your family is going to judge you, or are you afraid that your friends are going to judge you? Well, I'm gonna break it to you, and I'm gonna tell you that you probably will be judged. Okay, not probably, for sure you'll be judged, especially if your opinions and views on the world are contrary to the commonly held beliefs and views and opinions and perspectives. Okay, that being said, if you want, and I'm gonna give you the straight, deepest way to do this, the most sustainable way to do this, if you want to stop for good, stop being afraid of being judged by others. You might not like to hear this, but I'm gonna tell it to you. It's taken. You have to take responsibility and stop blaming others. And here it is. You've got to stop judging yourself, develop compassion to yourself, and then take that compassion that you develop for yourself and give it to everybody that you know. In other words, stop judging yourself, stop judging others. That's a very important, the second part is important. Stop judging others. Develop compassion for others. And the way you're going to do this is, first you're going to develop compassion for yourself. You're going to stop judging yourself and develop compassion for yourself. How do you develop compassion for yourself? Well, take a look at your life. Take a look at some of the things that are holding you back. Take a look, for instance, let's say, let's just say you have a stutter, okay? Let's say when you speak, you have a stutter. It may be significant, it may be a little bit, but you have stutter. Like you start to speak, and then you have a problem putting words together, and that really makes you feel embarrassed. Well, the way you develop compassion for yourself is you go back to your early days, your early childhood, as far back as you can remember, where you had the stutter, and you say, wow, you just kind of see what's around you, what caused this to happen, what chain of events caused this to happen. Maybe your dad or your mom or both parents, they interrupted you a lot. They didn't let you finish speaking your mind. They put you down whenever you spoke. They made fun of you. And then you started to develop this stutter. You see, you develop compassion for yourself because you realize it's just what happened to you in your childhood. There you go. You develop compassion for yourself. You stop judging yourself for having that stutter. You see? And you develop compassion by seeing how that happened. You realize it's not really your fault. It never was and never will be. And that's the truth of pretty much everything. If you've got anger problems, like yours truly here, I have anger problems, okay? And if I go back to my childhood, it's because I was beaten up, physically abused on a regular basis. My dad displayed tremendous anger towards me. So there you go. I'm like, it's not my fault. I want to work through this. I'm working through this. I hope to not have those anger issues. But the way I'm going to work through them is I'm going to stop judging myself for being angry. Oh, this is bad. You're angry, Saeed. You should do better than that. And then develop compassion by realizing it's not even my fault. Now, here is the interesting thing. Once you do that and you do that long enough, you start to develop compassion and stop judging other people. So once I started to figure that out, and by the way, I still got anger issues, okay? However, once I stopped judging myself for that, and once I started to develop compassion for myself for that, I took it a step further and I realized, wow, hold on. If that was the case for me, that must be by default the case for my father. Then I come to know, and I ask a few questions to my mom and my relatives, and I come to know that my father himself was beaten up by his dad, and he grew up in even a worse environment than I grew up in, under even more violence, more brainwashing, more anger from the society that he was in and his father. And therefore, he simply repeated the unresolved traumas, the unresolved inner wounds that he developed, not by his fault, just happened to him, and he just couldn't heal those parts of himself, and therefore he turned out to be an angry, violent father, just like his father was, just like the society that raised him was. And when I started contemplating on that, I stopped judging my father, and I stopped feeling resentment towards him, and I started to feel I feel this compassion, like, wow, it's not even his fault. He wasn't even in the right time, in the right place to even heal those traumas. His life, in a way, took a tragic turn, whereas mine, by the blessing of the force of the benevolent forces of God, I came to be self-aware of these things, and I'm working through them. Whereas my father never really even had the right environment, the right country, the right place to be able to work through these issues. But for me to even begin to develop that compassion to my father, and stop judging him, I had to do that to myself first. And so, once you begin to work with the principle of compassion, and you begin to develop it, even when people judge you, you won't judge them back. You won't judge them back. You'll realize, wow, that person is hating on me because they're hating on themselves because of probably something that happened to them in their early childhood, or because of their parents, or this or that. And then you just bless them and you move on. Now, by no means, guys, am I a master at this. I'm actually working through this now. Because I can remember so many instances where I replied in an angry, frustrated way to people in the comment section and in person, who maybe, didn't get what I was saying, or strongly disagreed with me or something. Okay? And I'm just lately coming to realize, like, wow, I really don't want to act like that. And I'm not a master at that. I'm trying to work through this. I've actually had a recent incident. I was on this Facebook group, it's called the Fruitarians. So I was just scrolling through, and there was this lady. She's new to the group, new to the lifestyle, and she's asking, what do I do when I'm cold and it's winter? What do I drink, or what do I eat? What cooked food should I eat? And everybody attacked her because it's the Fruitarian group. Why are you promoting cooked foods on this? Right? Everybody was just like, what? I'm like, whoa, man, that's crazy. And then I just left a comment. I just said, I told her maybe make a broth or something, gave her some ideas, to keep you warm. So somebody came and said, why are you doing this? Why are you promoting this? Get out of this group. So I initially attacked them personally, and we went a little back and forth, but then I thought about this a little bit, and at the end of the post I just told him, look, bless you. All right, I just, and that's it. I just didn't want to go any further than that. And so I'm working through this. All right? My point is, if you want to to crush the fear of being judged by others, is develop compassion for yourself, stop judging yourself, then take that compassion and give it to others and put yourself in their shoes, develop compassion for them, see that even when they're reacting in a violent response to you, in an angry, in a frustrated way, that they don't want to do that, they're just doing it based on unresolved issues, unresolved wounds, unresolved traumas. And then you won't care if you get judged, because you'll do what Jesus did. He's on the cross, he's being nailed. Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That Jesus got to those levels of compassion, and he maintained them, he integrated them. And we should all aim to try and do that, right? So that's about it. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.